Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing the highly anticipated Longlegs, written and directed by Osgood Perkins, starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage, in a film that has been hailed as one of the most terrifying horrors of recent years. Although it's been widely recognised as a horror film, it's definitely more of a psychological thriller in my opinion, following a serial killer with links to satanic worship and believing he's doing the devil's work. And we follow the story of Longlegs through the perspective of a rookie FBI agent who's got somewhat psychic abilities and a personal connection with Longlegs as the film progresses along. And I do want to start by talking about the sound design because it is just phenomenal. The film has this haunting, just eerie stillness and silence. So much so that a door creak, a handle turning, a cup being placed on a table reverberates through the screen with such a haunting impact. Enhanced by the fact that we're in a very rural, quiet setting that isn't densely populated by civilians and extras. We're following a very small, intimate cast, despite the fact that the environment is really vast and huge, which has the reversed effect of making things feel very claustrophobic, that lends the film a constant feeling of tension throughout. The soundtrack and the score as well, I think, was really perfectly spot on with the tone the film was going for. The opening scene and the way the soundtrack just kind of skyrockets to enhance the jump scare of Longlegs' first appearance was stunning. And it just managed to maintain that sense of unease that wasn't intrusive to the story but felt like it was constantly there reminding you that you couldn't feel calm at any point. Speaking of that opening scene, and another technical component that really went into selling this film as effectively as it did was the cinematography. The very precise, elusive shots that kind of blur or distort Longlegs' full appearance for the first half of the film were just expertly done. I think the creative choice to hide Nicolas Cage's full appearance just lent him a very spectral presence in the film. The idea that he's there, he's being shown, he is in plain sight to us, but we're not fully immersed into his facial composure is just a masterful choice, and I think it's what made the opening scene just work perfectly. A lot has been made of Nicolas Cage's performance, the scene where he and Micah Monroe first interact and her heart rate skyrocketing. I think he provides a really fantastic level of unhinged in this film. Someone who's fully given themselves over to worshipping Satan, and the makeup and costume design in making him this kind of sickly pale emblem of white was really symbolic. There were a couple of moments in his performance where I felt it went a bit too Nick Cage going wild, but for the most part it really is a performance that will stick with you despite its minimal screen time. The mystery surrounding him and his motives and how he actually achieves the results that he achieves as a serial killer was really immersive and engrossing. I was genuinely compelled throughout. I definitely wasn't sure how I was going to respond to the psychic element of the story or the satanic possession sort of side of things, but I don't think it derails the film at all. I think it makes the third act slightly anticlimactic because we've had such a grounded build-up for the most part. But spoiler alert, to get to the end and have the film fully embrace the kind of more supernatural aspect of the story was, I don't know, I felt mixed things about it. I loved the speculative build-ups where we weren't quite sure what was going on. We weren't quite sure the role of the dolls in the film, beyond just being a very creepy trademark of Longlegs' work. Because for me personally, I think when you've got a human antagonist who is so sickeningly invested in their own ideologies, in this case Longlegs with his Hail Satanism, to me that is more terrifying than anything tangibly supernatural, because you just don't know where it's gone wrong psychologically for them. They're unhinged, they're unpredictable, they're a real threat. So yeah, third act was a little underwhelming for me because it fully went there with that aspect of the story, and also because Nicolas Cage isn't really present in the final act of the film. But throughout it all, we have a really fantastic performance from Micah Monroe playing the lead role. Physically, she seems very weary, very gaunt, very anxiety-ridden in every scene. She doesn't look like she can rest. Someone who doesn't fit in with the society around her, but working for these people, as opposed to Longlegs, who is someone who doesn't fit in with the society around them and working to undermine that completely. I think the two provide a really interesting dichotomy. It masterfully uses and drip feeds its antagonists throughout the story, and equally it masterfully kind of unnerves you through the gradual deterioration of our protagonist invested in the story. It masters that slow burn, quiet feeling of tension that just haunts the entire narrative. It falters for me only with an ending that felt slightly predictable, because when certain characters get introduced early on in the film, you just know what they're setting that up for, and also for the fact that it fully commits to an aspect of the story that I think worked better as ambiguous speculation and left to your own interpretation of it. But if you have seen Longlegs, guys, do drop a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please also consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It's always a huge help for me. And in the meantime, we'll see you for the next review.